I welcome you to the talk Understand Success. During the years in my career, I was trying to find ways how I can be successful with my artistic practice. And I had ideas and I tried them and they didn't pay off. So I just tried harder and again they didn't pay off. And I was just continuing to try harder and harder, doing the same thing over and over without generating success at the end. And I started to become bitter about things. Nowadays, today, I know I should have changed my tactics rather than just trying harder. So this talk, Understand Success, is very much about my personal experience that I had in my career. But also it is inspired through talks to colleagues that tried out different strategies in their businesses. It is inspired by cooperation partners such as architects, town developers, gallerists. So this is kind of a collection of experiences. I actually believe everyone that has a set of skills in the artistic practice can become successful. And mostly I believe that because creative people have one unique skill, and that's the problem-solving skill. Just with this skill, you will try over and over again to fix a problem. And that's what success is all about too. Now, the first question you have to ask yourself is, what is success for you? And I believe that a majority of the people I have talked to associated with success generating money. And a big part at the beginning of my career, money was also dominating my thinking. Generating income helped me to simply secure my career. The money also helped me to understand that I'm actually delivering something of relevance towards society. Now, after some of the years where money is not the dominant motivation anymore, I define success in a different way. I also met people when I asked them, what is success for you? Well, I want to make work that makes a difference. Work that makes a difference in the field, in the professional field, but maybe also in society. So try to find out what success is for you. And I would like to start this talk with a question you have to ask yourself. Try to think of all the artists or the designers you know. Do you know any within this field that you would say is successful by your terms? But at the same time, you find the work not very strong. Maybe the work doesn't inspire you. Second question. Again, think of all the people or all the artists and designers you know. Do you know of anyone that does inspiring work? Work that really excites you, but the person really struggles for success? If you can answer both questions with yes, then the conclusion must be there's more to it to be successful than just generating good work. We do talk about the art world or the design world, but at the end, it's not a world, it's more likely lots of small villages. So the art is divided in many, many small markets. And they're defined maybe by the product or by the customers or by the genre. So you have your own market for galleries, an own market for commission work. You have a market that just looks at certain products. And your first question is, where would I like to be? Because I've seen people passionately making work for a market they couldn't associate themselves with. Their whole ideology in their life was against what that market was all about. So start thinking about the market you want to be associated with. Just a few years ago, I had a conversation with a colleague of mine, and he was having a small speech about a hammer that he was producing. And definitely, I can also confirm it is a very well made hammer that really fulfills the purpose what it's made for, to hammer. But the maker was talking about it more as an art piece. That he said, this piece is so well made that it should be shown in an art gallery. But I believe not so much. What does this story tell us? If you decided this is the market you want to be associated with, but your work doesn't actually fit into that market, then you need to change your work. You need to create work that suits the market. So once you detected your market and you have work that actually fits into that market, you need to start to investigate that market. Detect people that you find are successful in this market. Already with that, you have a good argument that it's possible with what you do in that market to become successful, because others already are. So you are not the first one to do this. Find yourself role models, people that you say, they work the way I would like to work. They make work that inspires me. Then do not hesitate to contact these people. From my personal experience, I know that if you can get people on the phone or if you can get people to answer your email, they will help you. In general, we're all good people. Try to meet these people. Prepare yourself with questions. How did they manage to get there where they are? And what does it require from you to get there? And you coming in to a new market and you meeting someone that has established a practice successfully in that market. And this is also how we learn. If you're deciding to start a new sport or a hobby, would you start it with someone that has the same experience level than you? Or would you actually learn more by playing against someone that has much more experiences than you? So we do learn from stronger people. Learn from people that already have proven to be successful in that market. Often in the conversations I hear, I just need to overcome my next obstacle and then I will be successful. And it's not really an obstacle, it's more likely the challenges that are on your path becoming successful. There are two kinds of obstacles or challenges that you will find in your career. And one is a lack of knowledge and experience. And this is the smaller problem, because once you understand that you have a lack of knowledge, then you know you need to find that knowledge. And eventually you will solve it and you will overcome this obstacle. But the other one is a much bigger one, a much more complicated one. And that's if you decided that it is an obstacle. If you decided for yourself, this is a problem now. If you decided that it's going to be hard to overcome that. Because to solve that, it will take a change of your attitude. And we all know that a change of attitude takes way longer. Now, I have a few points for you that I find personally very important when you start to establish your career in a market. Need to be distinct so it doesn't melt into a majority of work. You kind of have to pop out of the crowd. And that doesn't necessarily just mean the aesthetics you're working with. That can also mean the way you work. At the end is that your brand. It's what you get recognized for. Whenever I bring up the word brand, people feel, or some people feel appalled by it, because they feel like a brand is something you create just for the sake of selling. But a brand is more likely who you are. It's your values you have in life and what you want to communicate through your work. So there's no reason to be afraid of the idea of being a brand. So being distinct with your brand is what people will remember. Here you see an example why distinct is so important. On the left is a piece of work by Tom Joyce, an established successful artist from the US. On the right you see me, a piece that was inspired by Tom Joyce. during that time, and I was very much inspired by his work. And I think we all get inspired from someone. And being inspired and then trying to mimic the work is a very good way of learning. But during this time, and I think it was like 2 or 3 years that I was working in the style of Tom Joyce, all I was doing, I was promoting Tom Joyce. Those 2 or 3 years, I didn't actually work on promoting myself. So being inspired by someone is good. But at the end of that development, you need to find your own way. You need to make that work to yours. Be authentic. Now, you might have ideas of what kind of role you should play to be successful in a market. But at the end, you're in for the long game. And trying to just play a certain role because you believe this is what people expect from you will drain you on the long run. And you will have to household with your energy. So being authentic, being yourself, is a fundamental survival skill. And be consistent. Be consistent in your style, in your content, the aesthetics you're using. I know this is very difficult, especially when you're starting up your career. It's so easy to get distracted. There's so much artwork out there that might inspire you and you feel like this is what you want to do. But it is the consistency you're going to get measured. The red thread through your work is what people will judge, because that is at the end your brand. So definitely the long-term goal is to find consistency in what you do. And get yourself in the game. I experience people, they work in a bubble. They resist showing their work because they feel like they need to still develop their work. They need to make their work stronger or find certain qualities before they're going to expose it to the world. But the qualities come from showing it to the world. You ultimately do work for other people. So you need to learn what other people see in your work, how they understand your work. Nowadays, we have so many opportunities to show our work. You can show your work in all kinds of skill levels. There are platforms in the internet where you can expose your work via social media and you will get response. And this response is important for you to validate what you do. What works? What works for me? What works for them? So get yourself into the game as early as possible and learn. This is about getting your work out there, getting your work to be seen. And with that, maybe the opportunity that people will pick it up. Create opportunity by showing your work. Make good work. For me, good work is being authentic and having a context that connects you in your work with the world. But besides that, it's also the build quality that is very important. Create high quality work. Think of sustainable aspect. Think of our resources. Think of our environment. Bad news spread faster than good news. So make good work. And once bad news spread, it will take you a lot of time to change it. Vision and strategy. Vision is why you do it. It's what gets you out of bed. It's what gets you into the workshop and work. Vision is your motivation, and vision is highly personal. But the strategy is your plan. Strategy is something that's up for negotiation. Strategy can be aligned and changed, and strategy should be validated every now and then. If you look at this image, you see Franz Reichelt. Franz Reichelt had a very strong vision. He believed that every person should be able to fly. And he tried to demonstrate his vision by building a wingsuit and then climbing up to the first floor of the Tour de Eiffel in Paris and to jump off. So we all agree his vision is great, but his strategy was not so good. So remember, your vision is you, but the strategy is on how you deliver your vision. That brings me to my last argument of my talk today. Ultimately, your success is depending on your relationships or your network. Why? Because you don't know where the good news are coming from. You can't afford just to be very selective about who you want to network with or who you want to get along with. you need to be positive. You need to be positive about yourself first, so you can be positive about the world. Let's be honest. Who wants to work with someone that is negative? You may be not successful right now, but you need to believe in yourself and believe that you will be successful in the future. Remember that you have radical self-responsibility over your own life. And remember, there are no obstacles except yourself. I believe you can be successful. Thank you very much.